Hi everyone, welcome to another episode of the Product Checklist, the podcast where we explore the methodologies, frameworks, and real-world strategies that drive successful project development in the Web3 space. Today, we are joined by Axel Gobert, co-founder and CEO of Frigg Home, a platform that's standing at the intersection of Depin, decentralized physical infrastructure networks, and DeFi, consumer hardware, and Web3 mass adoption. With a background in marketing, finance, and entrepreneurship, Axel is creating what he calls the blockchain of things, essentially making blockchain as invisible and essential as Wi-Fi in our daily lives. Frigg Home recently completed a seed round and is preparing to deploy massively by 2026. In this episode, we will dive deep into how you build products that bridge the physical and digital worlds, the unique challenge of Depin, project management, and access strategies for achieving true blockchain mass adoption through seamless user experience. Axel, thank you for being with us today and welcome to the Product Checklist.
Man, you worked a lot. Thanks a lot because it was spot on what you said.
Great. Please, can you give us a quick presentation about you and what you do actually?
Sure. I'm Axel Gobert, the CEO of Frigg Home, and right now I'm managing the whole company, and we are about, I would say, around 15 team members. So it's a lot of work. Otherwise, I love what I do. I do DeFi as on my personal time because I really like DeFi. I do some Depin tests in my garage. I don't have any garage, but like in my room, in my office, I do some Depin test as well. Yeah, I just spend most of my time working, but working with a lot of love.
Nice, nice. About this love about blockchain, what was the pivotal moment in your life that made you say, I want to be in the blockchain industry?
It goes back to 2017. I think it was 17 or 18. Long time ago. One of my best friend back then, I was still in France. Now I'm expatriated, but I was still in France. He came to me and said, do you know that we can buy stuff online and nobody knows that it's us that buy it? And I was like, what the hell is this? Because I'm very attached to freedom. So I really like this idea that you can do that. And this was Bitcoin. And I remember back then, I was young. I didn't have a lot of money. So I thought that investing in Bitcoin was too late, but I still bought Bitcoin to make those tests, on the dark web, actually. I didn't buy nothing illegal. It's just I wanted to see if it can actually work. And I remember back then you could buy Bitcoin without any KYC. So what we did is we went to a kind of a grocery shop and you could buy with PaySafe Cash some online credit. And by giving the code on a specific website, they will exchange your cash with Bitcoin. And it's a good way to be anonymous. And this was the first interaction I have with blockchain things. And after that, I just started to study a little bit more about the overall ecosystem. And I would say that I really got into it in 2020. And after I started to build a little bit later, 2021, after I stopped, and now I started again by the end of 2023.
Okay, great. Always testing and always discovering, right?
That's right. I think you told me in the backstage that if you did this podcast, it's because you're curious. And I think this is the best way to learn things and do things. And when you're curious, everything can change, right? Like your whole career can change.
Oh, yes, definitely. I totally agree with you. How would you explain the intersection of physical infrastructure and blockchain to someone completely new to both Depin and Web3 concepts?
So how to explain Depin? I would say that first, I like to do this parallel with Airbnb actually, because what did Airbnb is similar to what we are trying to do with Depin. Airbnb, like what they did is they knock on people's home and said, hey, do you have a spare room? They say, yes. Okay, because you underutilize your home, you can make more money by utilizing, optimizing it, sorry. So You just rent your room and you get money for it. At the base, it was this, and now there is a whole business with new apartments. And Depin is the same. Instead of just relying on big tech giant infrastructure, you can rely on people's CPU, CPU, GPU, as well of I don't know, like storage. So basically, you can rent the storage you don't use on your computer, and you can make money by doing this.
Okay. It's like I have something I use, I will say, one times a week. So with the pin, I can still use it one times a week, but rent it 6 days out of 7 days.
Yeah, definitely, it's this. It's like Airbnb for tech, I would say, for infrastructure, and it goes further than this because Depin is it's quite wide. You have a lot of you have big notions of data with Depin. So, for example, there is this project called GeoNet, and what they do is you can buy their hardware. It's kind of a little weather station. You just put it on your backyard, and it will scan the sky all the time, to have real time data. So because it's encoded by the blockchain, you are not selling your personal data, but you're selling the weather data. And when you study a little bit more, you see that weather data is actually a multi-billions dollar market. What if a farmer can know that at this time of the day it will rain and at this time of the day it will be sunny? They can optimize everything and maximize the production so they can make more money. This is why it's a multi-billion dollar market. And yeah, so you have, I would say, two kind of Depin. You will have dedicated hardware where you actually buy from the company a specific hardware and you kind of rent your space or rent your bandwidth, or depends, it's more geographical. And you have like traditional Depin, which is you have resources you don't use and you can rent it to make more money.
Okay, great, great. And let's talk a little bit about product management. If you had to describe product management in blockchain in one sentence, what will it be?
I would say product management is synthesis, because you have to take not opposite, but two very different words. On one side, you have the marketing side. You have to understand what customer wants, what the marketing team has in mind. And on the other side, you will have the tech team. So the tech team in general, I don't know if you're an engineer, I don't know if you talk to engineers, but in general, they have a complete different vision on what is a good product, right? So I think the PM role is in between. You're kind of a bridge where you're talking to both and trying to, make them work together.
Yeah, exactly. And about that, how does building physical blockchain infrastructure change the entire project development process compared to teams that building software first Web3 product?
Yeah. So what we do at Frigg Home is we actually build software and hardware. This is the specific things, right? And when you think about those two things, you can think it's two separate words. But I realized that it's actually very complementary. So when you design your product, you have to think about how can I create a synergy between those two things. And this redefined the whole thing. Obviously, it's not on when you have hardware, it's not only having a cool product. Obviously, it's so important, but it's also about supply chain, because if your supply chain sucks, people won't be happy as well, right? So whatever the great product you have, supply chain sucks, people won't be happy, and it gets me back to these Web2 things about drop shipping. Drop shipping is people that sells things from Alibaba or AliExpress, and it takes maybe a month to arrive to the customer address, and they're not very happy. Now, when you build a Depin hardware, there is some tactic you can do. And because it's yield based in general, people are ready to be a little bit more patient. So you can do like Kickstarter, Kickstarter, they just sell, let's say, 1,000 units, and they say, okay, in 1 year you will receive your package. So This is the kind of supply chain you can do at the beginning, and after you have to ensure that you have a strong and reliable supply chain.
Okay, so yeah, so hardware and software, and obviously supply chain are very, very important in building this type of product. And for you, what are the most critical product decisions that teams get wrong when they are building Depin product? And also something that you really, really pay attention to at Frigg Home.
Yeah, I have actually the one thing I have in mind is connected to both questions. That's great. That's a good question. It's UX. It's UX. It's so bad, man. I'm not going to stand up to get my Deepin hardware that I'm actually testing, but it's a anyone router, and it's been a couple of weeks. Like I take like each week I take about 30 minutes to 1 hour to set it up, and it doesn't work. So it's been 2-3 weeks that I'm trying to do this. I gave up because the UX is pretty bad. Okay, so let me explain to people. Anyone is creating a privacy network through your Wi-Fi. So you could connect to your Wi-Fi to this router. And because you create a, a point in the network, you're paid for relayed infrastructure. And the problem is that it's what you want when you're doing wireless network in Depin. You want it to be plug and play. You just plug it on your electrical outlet, it works, and you earn money. But it's not the case. This is not the case. I had to do thousands things, and the last thing that bugs is port forwarding, on my Wi-Fi. So I'm trying to set it up. I set it up, but it still doesn't work. On my Wi-Fi it works, but on the Depin hardware it doesn't work, and I don't understand why. I asked help from the team. No one is answering me, even on X. So I'm like, okay, UX, my user experience sucks, and I wish it was not like this. And if you look at the overall landscape in Web3, not only Depin or DeFi, it sucks in general, right? Like, what project you have that is as easy to use as a Web2 project? Like maybe Abstract. Abstract is cool. It's very streaming, very things like this. But otherwise, the rest sucks. Like, for example, if you're a beginner in DeFi and I tell you, okay, go use Pendle, you have good APY on it. Most of the people won't understand what they have to do on Pendle. If you want to use a Depin hardware and you have to do a port forwarding that does not work, people don't want this. They will just give up, and you just kill mass adoption like this. We have great technology, but the UX sucks. And this is something that I'm paying a lot of attention. And when there is something that is too hard to understand or too Web3 like, with a lot of jargon from our industry, I just tell the team that's not possible. That's not gonna do it. So we try to gamify everything and make it simple.
Okay, can we go deeper on this? Because on a lot of podcasts and videos, people are talking about success, but it's not a failure, it's an experience for you. You did not find yet the best user experience. What are the methodologies you use to find the best user experience for your consumer, actually? What is the methodologies, and is there anything especially you do to have a better understanding of the value proposition for your consumer?
Yeah, I always think that when you build something, you should be a customer of this industry, right? For example, I'm a man. I'm not going to do, I don't know, like things for women. Like even if it's a big market and it could be very passionating, it's not my thing. I don't understand it. Because I've been doing DeFi quite a while, along to my co-founders. My co-founders are brilliant, right? We understand really well what we want to see, what we don't want to see. And this is a framework in product management as well, right? And what we would like to see. So that's the first thing is ourselves. We should understand the industry. You don't need to be an expert, but you should be at least a customer. And ask yourself the good questions. Why I don't use this protocol instead of this protocol? Maybe it's because this one is more, I don't know, like the overall flow UX is better. For example, if we talk about DeFi, I like to use Llama Swap because I know that the fees are very, very low and they do a good aggregation of every route possible. And because we are building an aggregator as well, I know that we need to have a lot of root so we can have very low fees. And that's part of the UX, especially in finance. So the first thing is this. The second thing, I would say it's data, right? You can analyze, you can talk to team, you can try to understand the behavior of people. Do they just jump chains on chains? Do they withdraw fast? Do they swap a lot? Is there panic during volatility? There's a lot of things to track. You can track, you can try to, analytical tools such as Dune, or you can just go on Reddit to have more qualitative. I would say Dune is more quantitative and Reddit will be qualitative because you can talk to people. I asked myself some questions on Reddit. I said, what do you want to see in a DeFi protocol? And people, I received 20, 30 comments below saying that we want to see this, we want to see that. And there is, and you can really like map the customer's desires based also with your desires. So it's at the same times feedbacks and it's at the same times personal experience and guts.
Okay. So always talk to the customer first.
Always, yeah, always. We went in a Uniswap bootcamp. It's fresh actually. I came back before yesterday, I believe. Saturday I came back. So I don't know when people will see, but it was a few days ago. And I talked a lot to builders in the ecosystem. Some people, when they were, so most of them are developers actually, not product manager, not marketer, they are developers. And when we talk to them, like what you're building, and they say something that is so niche, and you can ask them, okay, but like, what's your customer? And we say, myself. You didn't understand, like that's only one part of the thing. The other part is what people want. It's not only you. You're one people, what 1 million people wants, right? And this is something that unfortunately we do not have so much in Web3 nowadays, Still, it's more and more, but still it's not like this.
Okay. If you could go back and give your past self one piece of advice when you started building Frigg Home, what would it be?
I would say to go leaner, to have to really take time to hire people because we spend we had a couple of misfits in our company because we raised money. We were looking for developers to build the product as soon as possible, but we had like 2 people quitting on the first day. We had we fired like 2-3 developers that were actually not fitting. They were not enough modern. They were not willing to put the work into, etc. So we had to fire them as well. And yeah, now we have a good team. Okay, we are not lean. We are like 15 people, but it goes absolutely well. It's wonderful. Now we have only people that fits to the ideology of the company, to the culture. People say culture, but it's ideology basically.
Yeah, okay. And is it possible to know more about the ideology and of the company, especially on the product side?
Okay. So I will try to mix both. I would say that the main ideology is freedom, obviously, but not self-freedom. Like we are building for freedom, right? In fact, when you are building a startup, you're kind of your own slave because a startup requires a lot of work. And actually you work much more if you are just an employee at the end. So you're not free. But otherwise, we are fighting for freedom because it's the core main manifesto from Satoshi Nakamoto. And we only want people that believe in this in the team. That's the ideology. And the thing related to the product is we are a startup and we have to work a lot. We do not need to count hours. And actually, I made a recent shift. I used to think about holidays and Sunday and things like this, like people, okay, don't text on Sunday, things like this. Now I kind of reframe my vision into a binary vision. Is people are available or not available? And the only way to find out is to text them. So I do not impose a meeting on Sunday morning, obviously. I'm Christian, so I'm not going to do this. But for example, like if I text you now, will you answer to me? And it's very important, especially when you have a designer or when you have like a CTO. It's like, how fast can they answer? Because, and talking about the product, you have to iterate a lot, right? You have to iterate a lot, especially when you're in phase of beta testing, like we are now. We have to take major decision every week, basically. We have to fix bugs. We have to listen to feedback of our beta testers. And I would say that's the big ideology, that we need to constantly upgrade ourselves, be willing to put the work into it, and be reactive as much as possible, because the more the company scaled, the more you lose reactivity.
Okay, yeah. Yeah, it makes sense. So there is scaling about the company, but there is also scaling about the product itself and scaling the consumer, the number of people using your product. What's your approach to design the product where the value proposition depends on the network density? The question behind that is, are you building first for the beta testers, or are you building for beta testers and keeping in mind that in 2 months, 3 months, 6 months, more people with different, I would say, needs will come and use your product? What is your strategy? Beta testers first or mass adoption?
Yeah, so I would say that when you do beta testing, you have to, it's very paradoxal, but it gets to be small so you can talk to them directly, but large enough so you can cover multiple profiles. It depends obviously what you're launching, but I would say that DeFi is growing bigger and bigger, but it's not as big as if you're launching, I don't know, a supplement, a protein supplement. So right now we have a little bit more than 120 beta testers all over the world. This allows us to have different use case, right? Obviously, it's an MVP, so it's not with 100 features. There is like 2-3 features that are doing well, and they're all connected. So I would say that the first step you have to take is to make sure that the beta testers fit to what phase you're in, right? And from there, you can anticipate the future needs. Obviously, it will evolve with time. It's the base of the chasm, right? The chasm is, for those who don't know what it is you have, let's say, two big different stages. You have the first stage, which is the early adoption, and after you have the mass adoption. And in the early adoption, I do believe, and I know that it sounds crazy, but I do believe that Web3 and blockchain is still in early adoption. Okay, they said that by 2025, we'll have around 500 million users. But when you look at the overall population in the world, it's what, like less than 10%. It's not like the financial system where it's widely adopted already. Blockchain is not. But it's coming. It's coming. We saw that with Circle going into Wall Street right now. Like they've been crushing it. So yeah, I would say that we are still in early adoption, and we have to keep this in mind. But we have to be prepared on the future. First, develop for beta tester. If it's well made, they cover the profile and the niche that you're targeting at first, and then anticipate to switch slowly to something that is made for mass adoption.
Okay. And about that, what is your strategy? Do you expect some beta testers to quit the product because it doesn't fit them anymore because you're building a product for mass adoption? Or do you expect the beta tester to still stay even if the product evolves and with the mass adoption?
Yeah, so what the biggest brand do is they turn their customer into ambassador. And this is what we are looking for. Also, the core thing with Web3 and Depin in particular is that users become participants. And that's the core feel of the thing. You're not only someone that pays to use a service, you're getting paid to use it because it's a win-win deal. This is what we are looking for. Also, it's all about the marketing there. You have to be community-driven marketing. So everyone feel like they're in a ship for good.
Okay. How do you run actually product experiment when you are dealing with physical hardware that has no longer that has, longer iteration cycle than software?
Yeah, right now our hardware is still in prototyping, so we are not testing it. I prefer to say it than creating a methodology that we are not using yet. So I can talk about the software thing. Obviously hardware take a lot of time to develop. We spend more than a year to develop it, and we finally have it. We'll first start to beta test it with us, only the team members, and when we have when we have good results, we'll produce a few dozens of units, and then deploy it to people we can trust, geographically not close, to see if it can work and together.
Okay, so the first step is about being yourself the first customer.
Yeah, definitely. Like the company has to try it with a couple of dozens of units, and after we have to deploy to some people we trust, and after to sell it in pre-sale.
Yeah. Okay. So let's talk a little bit about the product market fits. What are the early signals that tell you whether a physical blockchain project has found a genuine product market fit or just crypto enthusiastic interest?
So what told me that there is an opportunity for this is data, actually. Of course, there is always a personal gut feeling that you're like, I think it's going to work. And this is where you create contrarian ideas, right? But I would say that the ultimate thing that told me that this is the way to go is when I saw Helium, the biggest project in Depin that achieved tremendous numbers. Helium deployed more than 1 million hotspots. I know it was very trendy in 2021. There was a lot of young people on TikTok saying, "Hey, look how much I earn every month with my Helium hotspot." And the beauty behind this is that all those young people using TikTok and bragging about how much they make with Helium did not know what was Depin. And this is my whole manifesto. I do believe that the best UX you can have is a UX is when the blockchain will be invisible. So of course you have to go step by step. Our first customer will be people that knows what is Depin and what is DeFi, but more and more we tend to go toward those young and not young people. I mean, we're fine with both. So yeah.
Okay, yeah. So yeah, it's about put the blockchain invisible, make it invisible for people, for the users.
I do believe, yeah. And when I look at Helium, they did it very good, and they sold more than 1 million hotspots. And this hotspot was, how can I say? This hotspot did not create any technological value. It was bad. I mean, maybe it created, but no one used it because it was for IoT. It was still very early for IoT, but still, if they sold more than 1 million hotspots, raised hundreds of millions of dollars for their KPI, and they just killed it.
Yeah. Yeah. So now let's talk a little bit about and your background, about especially in the project side. In the project life cycle, where do you think you have more value? Is it when you are building a product? Is it when you go from 0 to the first customer, or is it when you go from the first customer to the 100 and plus customer?
I like what is hard, and going from 0 to 1 is the hardest thing you can do, I believe, because you have to create inertia. And this is where I'm comfortable, because you can kind of shape the product with your vision and what you think will work. So obviously we have a great team at Frigg Home that we all work really hard to make the best product. But I would say that this is where I really have a lot of value. I like every step, right? Don't get me wrong, but I think going from a beta to go to market is the best thing you can do. When you see those numbers going up, is crazy, in my opinion. I love that.
Yeah. Okay. And They say to build a product, you need a good vision, roadmap, and tools. About the tools, in this phase from 0 to 1, what are your favorite tools to follow up on this phase?
Yeah, so for the beta testing or?
Exactly, for the beta testing.
Okay. So we manage our product with the design of a product and the whole, mapping of a product with Figma. So I would say this is a easy 8 out of 10. About doc management, we are kind of old school because I just love this tool. We use Google Drive. And for me, it's a 10 out of 10 because I just love it, especially if we're trying to implement AI. And that's good. It's still the beginning. It's not so good yet, but I think it will be a banger in about a year. Otherwise, we use ClickUp as well for project management. This I don't really like, but it works well for one of my co-founders. So I would say it's a 6 out of 10. Community feedback for the beta testers themselves. We use Discord because we can have different channel. We can have only announcement, but it's only us. We'll have like one tickets, so we can talk directly to them if they have a problem, if they have a bug. We'll have a link to the Google Drive. We'll have a Google form, and we are able to write every step. So if they have any doubt, they can just like look at this channel but explain the steps, and they can relay on this. So Discord is it's a 9 out of 10. I believe it's a great tool. And after, for our team, because I talk more on the consumer side, for our team we use Telegram a lot because this is just the way we talk. It's like to be reactive, we have to answer fast. We just send a direct inbox message like this. We don't use email, obviously, because we are not big enough. And we use Slack as well, but this is more for the whole team. Slack. In one conversation between founders, we use Telegram to be very fast.
And, during this phase, is there a metric you particularly take a look at during the phase from 0 to 1?
Yeah. Let me think 2 seconds. But this metric, I would say, is just the overall feeling of the beta testers. Like, do they like it or do they think it sucks? I think that's the main thing. It's more qualitative metric. Because the 0 to 1, what matters during the 0 to 1 is not the same but the 1 to 10. The 1 to 10, I would say it's more about the AA triple R, acquisition, activation, etc. And retention, I think it's after referral and revenue, if I'm not mistaken. And this is all those metrics that matters, and especially in DeFi as well. There is another metric that is so important. It will be TVL as well.
For you, I mean, in your experience, what do you already saw and discuss with other builders in this industry? What is the biggest trap new product manager fall into when they are building their first Depin product?
I would say that building something no one cares about, like there is no incentives, especially in Web3. Financial incentives are everywhere, and it's the new way to do marketing in Web3. And I've been comparing this thing. Why AI companies are scaling so much, there's so much growth in this sector compared to Web3 and Depin company. Why is because it's Web 2. AI is Web 2, So if you have good features that people love, they will just use it and they will even talk about it. Like ChatGPT, everyone talks about it. My stepmom, she knows it and she has nothing to do with technology, While blockchains, it's highly based on incentives. And I think that if your product is just aiming to revolutionize an industry no one cares about and there is no incentive for that, no one will care about it. You have to understand that initial traction is crucial.
Yeah, so yeah, makes sense. Makes sense. Let's go back a little bit. You told me that Frigg Home is about Depin and DeFi. Can you tell us a little bit more about the DeFi part and what is the product behind this?
Yeah, so we created Frigg Liquid. Frigg Liquid is a DeFi management tool that aims to change the ecosystem. I mean, not change everything, just make the UX simpler. Because now if you're a beginner or even if you're advanced, you will have to open 5 windows, connect your MetaMask everywhere, and try to track APY on your side and decide what's the best option. What we do is in Frigg Liquid, we gather everything in one place. You have one dashboard. You can do swapping. You can track APY in real time, so you can always stay on top and maximize your return on investment. Later on, we'll launch our own liquid stacking token. So you will have even better yield by going through us.
Okay, but actually, how do you manage two projects at the same time that are radically different? One on Depin, Frigg Home, and one on DeFi, Frigg Liquid.
That's a very, very good question, and it's something like I really thought about it. And I would say that what allowed me to manage those two things is, as you said earlier in this podcast, hardware takes more time. So I could be able to play on the timeline. It's getting produced, it's getting developed, but it takes time. So we have to think about a go-to-market strategy. And our go-to-market strategy is first we deploy our software because it takes less time and it's Frigg Liquid. And we target an audience that understand about APY and ROI. So it's a good fit for a Depin hardware that will generate yield as well. So we focus on the software. Once we have users, once we have community that use our product daily, we can turn them into hardware consumer.
Oh, okay. So it can be like a kind of acquisition
Yes,
phase. Okay.
that's right.
Okay.
It's like a free product to use, It's we don't charge no subscription, we don't charge nothing. You can just use our software for free, and after, if you like it, you can generate more yield because we create a synergy between DeFi and Depin.
Oh, okay. Okay, that's not. And where does this idea come from? How did you imagine this type of product actually? Where did it start?
Yeah, to be frank, at the base we wanted to do only Depin, but our one of our co-founder, Elliot, brilliant man, came, and because he's like a long time early Ethereum adopter, said, guys, I think if we start with the software, it will be good for us. And he explained the whole logic with LSTs and like liquid stacking token, etc. And I liked it and I trusted him. So I said, I think it's a good idea because it will allow us to have better KPI. So if we want to if we want to show our KPI to someone, we'll have them, because hardware takes a lot of time. And yeah, after we just came out with a whole strategy, it took us at least 1 month to put everything together, to link all the dots, remove some things that he saw, but add some things that I saw, and make kind of this melting pot where everything is connected and makes sense.
Okay, so it's like a good mix, I would say, for a project team, starting with knowledge, listening, and then get aligned everybody together.
That's right.
Okay. And you actually, you mentioned the pirate metrics, the acquisition, activation, retention, and revenue and referral. In this part, where do you think there is the most value to take when you're building either a Depin product and a DeFi product?
Yeah, it's very different. I would say for DeFi, the acquisition will be wallet connection. The activation will be, did they do like 2-3 transactions on your protocol? After the third is the
retention?
Retention. Thank you.
Yes.
Is the morning for me too, right? The retention is, do they use your protocol over time? Referral. Well, I do believe that every product should have a referral system because people should talk about it. And we do have that actually. We anticipated this. So that's kind of obvious. Do they bring new people? And revenue after, for us, it could come from fees management. For example, if you use our own LST token, liquid stacking token. So if you stake with us, you will earn more APY, and we will be able to generate fees from that, for example. This is for DeFi. But after, obviously, the revenue is based on the number of hardware we sell. And because everything is linked, if you look at our Depin in the first time, because through stage it will change, the acquisition will be from, it could be two things. Could be from Frigg Liquid. Do people from Frigg Liquid comes and opt in, give a kind of a LOI, letter of intention? Like, do they put their email on our email list, or do they just like pre-command it, whatever? And after activation, do they actually go to the checkout? Like there is the whole thing that repeats itself, basically.
Okay. And if you had to choose only one and focus on it, I will say for 10 years, which one will you choose? Which one bring the more value for your product?
About the framework?
Yes, about
Okay.
the framework. If you have to choose between acquisition, activation, referral, retention, and revenue, which one will you choose? If you have to choose only one.
Yeah, that's a very good one. I would say referral, because it can bring everything around.
Okay. So yes.
It's like people can do referral, and it creates acquisition, qualitative acquisition, and after it can generate revenue, and can create activation, because you can say a referral count only if the person do 3 transaction. That's valid. It's activation as well, right? So I would say referral.
Okay. And for the referral part, how do you create a project that give people the need to talk about it to other people? And in the second time, what is the path? What is the project path you are building actually in your project to help your customer do it?
Sure. So for the referral, I do believe that the reason why people will talk to others about it, it's actually only two things, and it's always self-centered. First thing is to shine publicly. When you see people on X that shares a Dune graph, they don't share Dune graph because they think it's cool Dune. They share it because they want to show to people they have knowledge. Hey, look, this is the return adoption for time. And people after, when you're looking for a statistic, you will go on Dune, thanks to this person that shined publicly. The second thing is financial. It's Web3. We are not gonna lie to each other. It's people want to be rewarded from what they do. So how did we implement this? Is because we have the whole quest system rewards. So basically, you just activate yourself, like you just complete the quest, like follow on Twitter, do 2 swaps, etc. So basically, it's a guideline to test our product and be updated about the news. And by doing so, you will unlock the referral system, and you can just invite people. And because you already test out our product, you know what is the interest for people to use it. So you can just share it to friends, share it to maybe family, I don't know, or even your community itself. So this is how we implement it. Is first you have to try your product, you like it, you can share people, and if they also try the product and get into the loop of trying the product, we will count them as a valid referral, and you will get rewarded for that.
Okay. And during this phase, actually, about the referral phase, what is the silent killer? The things that look like success in that phase, but actually indicate trouble.
There's a couple of things. I would say that if you have only farmers, so people from other part of the world that have not so much money, and they will just try your thing, and when they have another opportunity where they can get more money, they'll just switch. So your KPI will go up, and after like they understand there is another protocol that pays more, and will go down again. And that's a pretty big red flag for a startup that just launched a product. So that's the thing. So you have to really try to capture and do retention for them in order to make them stay, because they'll think that there is more rewards to get. But that's for this kind of audience, because there is a lot of them in Web3, and we need them as well. Right? And the other is actually having just a good product. So if we talk about KOL, if we talk about just DeFi users in general, or Depin users, if you have a good product that works and they can actually gain value from using it, they will refer you in the best way possible, which means they believe in your product.
Okay, thank you for your answer. Actually, we are already at the final phase of this podcast, and we have quick question looking for short answer. Does it work for you?
Okay, let's do it. By the way, we're already at the end. Like I could talk
Yes.
like this for 2 hours more.
Yeah, it goes so fast, so fast. So first of all, thank you very much for your insights.
Thanks, Devin.
What is the best product advice you ever got about building physical Web3 product?
Understanding market phase,
Okay.
life cycle.
What is the worst advice you ever heard in the Web3 space?
Just farm airdrop.
Okay. What is the most underrated product management skill when building product in blockchain?
Vision.
What is the skill that is differentiating great product manager from good product manager?
Vision.
What is the biggest adoption friction in Depin that teams constantly underestimate?
UX.
What is the first dashboard you open every morning when monitoring a physical blockchain network?
I opened CoinMarketCap in general.
Okay. And one word to describe the future of Depin.
Revolution. Distribution.
And for the final question, you can develop on it. What is the question I did not ask you that I should have asked you during this episode?
You did a pretty good job, I would say. The one question you should have asked me is where people can follow Frigg Home.
Actually, that's the next question. So so where can our listener follow your work, any social network, project, or resource you want to share?
You anticipated it. You're too good. Yeah. You guys can go on X. It's Frigg Home. I think it's written on my name.
Yes, exactly.
So you can just type this on X and you will find our account. From there, you will have every update. You will have the Telegram channel, the Discord. If you want to take part of the beta testing phase, you can as well. So just follow this and you will have every information you need to take part of it.
Okay, great. Axel, thank you. Thank you very much for joining us for the product checklist. Thank you for sharing your insight and experiences. So to our listeners, check out the description notes for the links to Maxen's work and the resource mentioned in this episode. Thank you for watching. See you at the next episode. And Axel, I will leave you the final word of this episode. What do you want to say to the community?
Thank you very much. And I would like to say to the community that be builders. There is a lot of way to get involved in this industry. And the way you can be a builder is through your personal time, your personal skills, your finance as well. But if you do not have a budget, you can be involved in different ways. And we need builders, so be a builder.
Thank you, Axel.
Thank you very much. Thank you.